Self-service. From the ATM to an unexpected item in the bagging area, the world loves self-service. But it's not as simple as it appears. Firstly, what's so great about self-service anyway? Well, let's look at the ATM. That's the cash machine to you and me. It takes up less space than a manned counter. It's available 24/7, 365. It never asks for breaks or better paying conditions. It hardly ever makes mistakes, and it costs so much less to the bank than other forms of transactions. We like them so much, we campaign to keep them in rural areas. Now think about the self-service journey you're going on in your business to help your customers. Here are the biggest mistakes I've seen and how to avoid them. Number 1, build it and they will come. The famous quote from Field of Dreams is the vision expressed by many CEOs and directors when I first sit with them to plan a project. This is absolute folly. To imagine that people will elect to self-serve just because they can is one of the single biggest failures of these projects. The most often cited transaction is to check their account. Portals won't, on the whole, generate a swathe of transactions that don't currently happen. The start of your self-service journey has to be, what do they do now? Those are the interactions that your customers call, write or email in about all day, every day. Number 2, unwise customer selection. The default selection is your main traditional customer base, but customers come in all shapes and sizes. For many of you watching this, or hopefully watching this, what if no one's watching this? Anyway, for most of you watching this, I'm a customer, at least of your finance department, as one of your suppliers. Are you considering supplier transactions? You probably process hundreds of invoices a week. There's a lot of expensive processes there that could run on self-service. There's a link in the notes with more information on our self-service supplier portal if you're curious about that. It's obviously a great self-service option. Sometimes less complex projects than your main customer base are far better to kick off on. Learn your lessons with smaller, less complex interactions, like suppliers, before you take on your bigger, riskier options. Number 3, unconsulted changes. I turn up to so many self-service kickoff meetings and organizations are surprised that I'm looking for the customers in the room. The single most valuable source of knowledge in your customer journey is, well, the customer. Customers who regularly use your product or service are often surprisingly willing to help make those interactions better. At the very least, they'll tell you what's wrong. They'll often do it free too. Other sources of great inspiration for self-service design include staff, competitors, and previous complainants to your organization. So often, the shift is designed by a manager or a director who has a sole vision. Often it's right, but sometimes lacking breadth. It's important to use all of these sources to feed your design. Number 4, shh, it's a secret. Once a portal is ready, so many organizations talk about a bulk email to launch it. This is a good example of a big failing for not-for-profit organizations particularly. All of this money and time spent, and then a half-hearted launch is like throwing that money out of the window. You need to push this new channel and to get people to try it. Not-for-profits often don't need to market their services, especially third sector organizations, which is our most regular sector. They even operate a queue for their products and marketing just isn't in their blood. My advice is this: work with others who do have marketing in their blood to market the life out of it and make the most return on this huge investment. This includes pre-release marketing across many media, including social media, direct mail, and if it's a big customer base for you, engage a great video company for advertisements and instructional videos. I'm not sure I could think of one I could recommend on the video front. Wait, I've got these guys. Can you guys recommend anybody on the video front? Number 5, one in, one out. If you're introducing a new channel, can you look to withdraw an old one? Like say the banks closing counters and branches when ATMs were there. If you don't, you're really likely to make your services cost more overall by keeping a channel open, as well as the new channels. Think about monitoring usage of older, more expensive channels and regularly discuss in your team how you can encourage channel shift through call transfer, assisted workshops, and targeted mail. Number 6, path of least resistance. There are lightning rods at the highest point of the Empire State Building to take the lightning straight to the earth and protect the rest of the building and its residents. This is referred to as the path of least resistance. Your customers will be exactly the same from a channel shift perspective. They will, on the whole, choose the most convenient and effective method to transact their business. A great example of this is the decline of online banking in favour of app banking. According to the CACI, who are mobile industry analysts, 2019 will be the year apps overtake online banking, and by 2023, 72% of the population will be banking on an app. The lesson here is to make the channel that you want customers to shift to the path of least resistance. An app transaction must be equal to or better than its more expensive channel counterpart. Customer on the phone and customer on the app should have exactly the same priority. Let us know you're there by clicking like at the bottom of the page, and if you disagree, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear a dissenting opinion.